Hey, good morning, folks. Welcome back to Mark Kelly Farm. We are up bright and early this morning. We're going to make some chicken broth. It's going to take most of the day, so stick around. We'll show you how we do it. If you follow our channel, you know we recently processed some chickens, and the video's not going to show the next day, but we processed chickens yesterday. We're doing this today. But we've got all of our chicken backs and necks and all that stuff that we don't consume. And we've got it here in a roaster pan. This is how we're going to get started with our chicken broth. And we're using the deep-sided roaster pan because a cookie sheet with as much oil and stuff as the chicken has on it with the fat and the skin, you don't want to do this on a cookie sheet because you'll be splattering all over your oven and maybe make you a grease fire, especially with like a gas oven that we have. So that's why I'm going with the deep roaster pans. But we've gone with one layer of chicken in the pan so we get some nice browning. And we've seasoned the meat with our favorite meat seasoning to give it some flavor once we start cooking that broth down. So we're going to get these puppies in the oven and get them going. We have our oven preheated at 450 degrees. So we're going to put them in. Now halfway through the process, we're going to switch pans because that bottom pan is going to get more direct heat from the bottom. So to make it a nice even cook, we'll switch them around about halfway through. Now by roasting these backs, we're getting a lot of added flavor through that browning process. And it's also going to allow us, when they're done, to pick the meat off of these backs so we can use that meat for something different. We'll have a nice little supply of cooked chicken meat that we can make anything out of. And then we don't have to pick the meat after it boils in the broth, because that's a tedious process. When those bones start falling apart, you end up getting bones in your meat and stuff like that. And that's not a fun deal. So by doing it this way, we can just strain our broth and we don't have to worry about saving anything out of that. And it makes for a much easier process. All right, we had our backs in the oven for an hour at 450. 30 minutes into the process, we switched the pans top and bottom, but they look real good. They got some good color on them. The chicken's cooked all the way through. Here's our other one over here. So we're going to let these cool off for a little bit, and then we'll pick some chicken. All right, our chicken's cooled off enough where we could pick the meat off, but I was suddenly reminded why I don't eat chicken backs. There's absolutely not enough meat on those to even warrant the time it's going to take to do that. So we are going to just throw them in the pot, and that what little meat is on there will help flavor the broth. So we're going to fill this pot with some carrots and some celery and some onions, and then we're going to get hot water from the tap. We'll use these pans. We'll loosen all that up and use these pans to dump some water into this pot. So I'm going to roughly chop up our celery, carrots, and onion, and then we'll bring it back. We got all of our veg cut up. We used a whole bag of carrots and a whole bag of celery and 3 very large yellow onions. You don't have to peel. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You even put the papery onion skins in here, because that stuff that you normally throw in the garbage actually brings a lot of nutrients and vitamins and minerals to the party. So you don't want to throw that away. And we're going to strain this broth, so anything that's in here is going to be strained out, so you really don't have to worry about it. Now, in the beginning, we've got the fire on high to get this thing up to a boil. We're going to throw on here our no boil over lid. And if you've ever boiled anything, you know when it initially comes up to a boil, if you're not watching it close, you'll have a mess out here on the stove before you can get it turned down to low. This is made by Pampered Chef, and as long as it's bigger than the outside edge of the pot, when the stuff boils up, it comes up through these little flaps here, and then it recondenses right here and runs right back down into the pot. It's really handy. Now the other thing on any good stock pot is it's going to have a glass lid. And the glass lid, when the moisture sticks when it's boiling to underneath the side of the lid, the glass, because it's exposed to air on the top side, recondenses that liquid and sends it back down into the pot. And you can see the edge here of the stock pot is actually rounded in instead of up. That runs all of the liquid right back down the side of the pot. So we're going to get this up to a boil. I know it looks really full right now, but everything is going to kind of cook down and settle into that pot, and we'll be fine. So Kelly this morning used some of her extra eggs and made some more pickled eggs. They've become a staple here in our household, and it's a good way to use up your extra eggs. She always plays with the recipe. She puts in here what she thinks might be good. So today we've got some garlic and some, what is it, babe?
Garlic, onion, smoked paprika.
Garlic and some onion and some smoked paprika. That sounds really interesting. Probably going to be fantastic. All right, there's our chicken stock. It's been boiling for about 7 hours. All of the veggies and the chicken backs and everything have given up their goodness. So we're going to employ our roaster pan again. We're going to ladle a bunch of this stuff out of here. And then Kelly will probably pick through that and make some brandy food out of the stuff that comes out. And then we'll strain the liquid and we'll get this stuff into jars and we'll get canning it. We've got our stock all strained out. Here's the pile of goodies. We'll probably go through that and make some brandy food out of that, some brandy snacks. But we're filling jars over here. I want you to see this beautiful, rich stock that we have. It's gorgeous. It's going to be some good stuff. Now I'm using a 2-cup measure to fill these jars. It goes a lot faster than a ladle using our little funnel. Now, excuse me, we're only filling up to this top shoulder of the jar here. I'm going to go get some more jars because we're going to need more. Now the reason I'm putting it in pint jars, that's right at 2 cups. A lot of recipes call for 2 cups of broth. And if you remember our Gravy 101 episode, if you don't remember that, you need to go watch it, for Sauces Gravy 101. Remember our ratio is a 1/4 cup fat, 1/4 cup of flour to 2 cups of liquid. So if I want to make a good gravy, I just grab one of these out of the pantry and stir it up real quick. It makes a really quick poultry gravy for Thanksgiving dinner or whenever we're having mashed potatoes or chicken and we need some gravy. All right, we got jars in the canner. It holds 8 smallmouth pints. So we'll probably do 2 batches. So these only get pressure canned for 20 minutes. So I'm not going to pull out our other canner. I'll probably do another 8 jars and that'll probably cover all of the stock that we have. I've canned many times on our channel, so I'm not going to bore you with that process. One thing I forgot to mention is we put a 1/2 teaspoon of salt in each pint jar. If it was a quart jar, you would go with a full teaspoon. Kelly was craving hot dogs, so I picked her some up today at the store. She made me some hot dogs. Don't those look amazing? Kind of looks like a Chicago dog with the tomatoes on there. It's got our good zucchini relish from the garden. Yummy, yummy. Well, we got the 8 jars that are in the canner, and then we have another 12 here. So we're looking at 20 jars of stock out of this pot. So we're going to have to end up doing 3 cycles. You can see this one here is going to have a little bit more fat in the top. And when this is cool, this will harden. But that's okay. I'll use this one for something that I want a little more fat in. Or I can take this fat off and use it in the roux that I make whenever I use this stuff. So that ends the second day of chicken harvest. We're finally got everything put away. We've got pretty much everything done. So it's been a pretty productive weekend. So hope you enjoyed the video. We wish you stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back and see us here on Mark Kelly Farm.